and so is the president of the FCCA. Minister, what are you hoping to achieve by hosting this conference on St. Martin? And for the president of FCCA, what are you hoping to be realized at the end of the conference overall?
Thank you, Mr. Cerillion. Excellent question. Of course, St. Martin is pleased to host this event, not only because of its economic value for our country, but more so afford us the opportunity to have those discussions, those thought-provoking and engaging conversations, and see what's the latest trends in the industry, and making sure that we continue to remain in sync with our partners. St. Martin has always been at the forefront of the cruise industry. Hosting this event, again, solidifies St. Martin's unwavering commitment to see that cruise tourism continues to flourish on St. Martin. We remain committed to that. So, of course, the Ministry of TIAD is pleased to have hosted this event in collaboration with Port St. Martin. We are pleased to welcome all Platinum members. As you know, the lead up to this event started with several other events, the event in January as well. And of course, we're pleased to have seen that that event in January, now further supported by this event, the reason for being actually at the event in January, which was the Cruise Summit, shows that St. Martin is indeed continuing to lead the charge in the cruise industry, and by having our partners here, having the discussions, that we take St. Martin further into what the cruise industry can offer us as a destination and as our people and opportunities afforded to them.
These are the talented men and ladies, half of them that have come to the press conference, that have come to St. Martin to work with St. Martin. We've already begun the work. We had a lunch meeting. Already at that time, Minister Lee was there to work to have young people, old people from St. Martin employed by the cruise industry, to look at opportunities for the cruise industry to use medical facilities in St. Martin for their crew. And we've only been on island a few hours. It's to reassess our commitment to St. Martin. It is to have the cruise executives be able to reestablish that love of St. Martin, to educate them, to create opportunities for the people of St. Martin to have more tours, to have new tours. So it's to empower St. Martin to be able to earn more economic impact.
We're extremely proud of our partnership and collaboration with St. Martin. I think we can always say as an industry, you've heard it here today expressed already, St. Martin is always at the forefront. If you look back over the last certainly 10 and 15 years, they continue to make the investments in the people and the infrastructure in the port, and making sure they're talking to the industry, understanding what it is that the guests and the crew want and look for in the experiences of St. Martin. And I think it's always a challenge once you reach a level that St. Martin has in terms of the guest experience, the guest crew, and the ratings, as you'll talk to any of our deployment or port operations team here. The challenge is remaining there because everyone else is always going after St. Martin. So when you hear within the industry what a great job St. Martin has done, and you can look at all the examples on the infrastructure from building the initial pier in early 2000 to the expansion in 2008, 2009, to working with the water, taxi, and transportation, making sure that those guests can make their way around, the beautiful bay, ensuring that you have an incredible boardwalk, having the amenities there, working with the taxi association to have a great experience. The crew love it. So when the crew love it, certainly that resembles on board. And the guests love it. So for us, we've been proud to make the investments and work with the people of St. Martin, both within the port, outside of the port, celebrating last year, the Rockland Estate Rainforest Adventure. So what we'd like to say is certainly St. Martin is never asleep. Obviously, there was very unfortunate events in 2017 with the hurricane. As Michelle alluded to, we were there to support St. Martin. That hasn't stopped. We won't stop. St. Martin is critical for us when you look at the deployments that we have in this region. So whether those are ships that are sailing from the U.S. home ports, or for us, many of the ships that are sailing in the region that come over seasonally from Europe to home porting from seaborne brand and so forth. So we would certainly like to commend the people, the port, and the government of St. Martin for continuing to make those investments, working and listening to the industry. So I'd like to thank you on behalf of all of our company and our guests and our group of business.
It's been said that behind every door, possibility awaits. How much possibility depends on which door you open first. Every day, we help our customers discover the possibilities in their lives. It all starts with a conversation. Scotiabank. Discover what's possible.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGEBE.
Hello, St. Martin. My name is Jose Helaga and I play basketball. I have organized basketball events in St. Martin. Sport matters to me because it makes everybody come together in unity. So I challenge the businesses community to step up for sports and help us rebuild and repair our facility. I'm also asking the community to nominate local businesses in your area to take on the challenge and step up for sport because sports matter. Check out the Department of Sports SXM Facebook page for more information. Hashtag Sport Matter, hashtag Are You In?
As I share these projects with you, I am reminded of the implications of the 2019 parliamentary budget debates being delayed. The Ministry of Education, Culture, Youth and Sport is waiting to present a budgeted amount of 123.4 million guilders, which is approximately 25% of the national budget. With the further delay of the presentation of this budget, there are projects and programs that my ministry has planned, and we may not be able to move forward without an approved budget for this year. Every civilized society maintains laws and regulations so that the government of the country may be guided in the right direction. I consider St. Martin as a civilized society where citizens, as well as the government, abide by the laws and by the regulations. Citizens and public authorities have rights as well as duties. The Constitution of St. Martin indicates the rights and the duties of the citizens as well as of the government. And according to Article 11 of our Constitution, each child has at least the right to education. This task is performed directly by the Ministry of Education, Culture, Youth and Sport. My ministry is trying, with all the budgetary limitations, to ensure that education, culture, youth, and sport are at least open to the primary, secondary, tertiary, and all other levels. If the budget for 2019 is not approved, the entire education system and the care for culture, youth, and sport can be compromised. Most of the budget of the Ministry of Education, Culture, Youth, and Sport is spent on subsidies. Subsidies for schools, sports, youth, and for cultural programs. It is already clear that some school boards, such as SVOBA and FAVE, are having financial difficulties with the budgeted allotted to them for 2018. Parliament questioned my ministry on what can be done regarding the troubles these school boards are facing and how can we offer additional assistance with no approved funds for 2019. If the budget is not approved soon, the government will have to take the decision to operate with a budget of 2018 for a second year. And we already know that the 2018 budget will be insufficient, particularly for FAVE and SVOBA school boards. Furthermore, several areas can be in jeopardy. To name a few, these include the maintenance of schools so that students are safe, including our public schools, the salaries of teachers and support staff, school nutrition, school bus transportation, the insurance for students studying here and abroad, study financing and all the conditions around it, innovations in education, and the professional development for teachers. Also at risk are key programs in the fields of culture, youth, and sport. The reorganization of the Division Public Education, cooperation agreements for the delivery of examinations for the IB, International Baccalaureate, the CXC, the ETE, and Cambridge curricula, funding for legislation for subsidies such as higher education, and supervision of the Department of Inspection Education. However, despite these setbacks, the staff of the ministry and I will continue to do our utmost best to ensure that the tasks and the duties of this ministry are carried out to secure the rights of the citizens of this civilized society. I'm very happy to announce that starting today, Mr. Hiro Shigemoto has joined the team of the Ministry of Education, Culture, Youth, and Sport in the function of Financial Controller for the ministry. After the sudden departure of our previous controller due to family reasons, the ministry had no financial controller for several months. Fortunately, Ms. Minerva Rumnit of the Staff Bureau assisted us during the absence of a controller, and for that we are very grateful. The staff and I look forward to working with Mr. Shigemoto, and I wish him much success in his new role.
Hey ma, how you doing? You busy?
I hear, just paying some bills, taking care of business, you know what it is?
I know, you're doing your online banking.
I don't have to stand in those long lines to pay bills. I can transfer when I want. I can check my account wherever. It's like the bank open 24/7. I even here checking the statement right now as we're talking. How's Miami?
Well, that's why I'm calling. I'm finishing up a few songs now, but I'm afraid that studio time might be more than I thought. And I was wondering if I could get some help with some funds, and I could pay you back as soon as I get back to St. Martin.
Let me check my account. How much you need?
I think 500 should be enough.
I can transfer it to you while online. Direct from me to you. No problem.
Great. Thank you so much, Ma. I'll get online with Wib now.
Alright, darling. You know who you're for?
I need to know who you're for.
Contact WIB today for your complete personal online banking experience. Available for all mobile devices. The Windward Islands Bank, now your online banking partner in progress.
Who you're for?
Causes of the healthcare incident with the senior. The interference and hold-up in the case of the senior citizen was complicated by the insurance company procedure of SZV, but SZV is not the cause of the problem. Why we say so? What we conclude is the availability and the accessibility to the highest attainable level of health care, which is a human right in this part of the kingdom, is not adequately guaranteed, as illustrated by the experience of this senior citizen that my colleague illustrated. How the Kingdom of the Netherlands guarantees persons in remote areas the availability and accessibility of quality health care. An evaluation of this compliance with Article 12 of the International Convention of Economic, Social and Cultural Rights will show the discriminatory implementation of this right to health in the kingdom. This is in violation of the equal treatment obligation stated in Article 2 of the same covenant. Since the ratification of this international covenant by the kingdom government in 1979, according to Article 43, Sub 2 of the Charter of the Kingdom had to guarantee the availability and accessibility of the same quality of health care as in the European part of the kingdom, also in the Caribbean part of the kingdom. For instance, while the French Republic provides all citizens with availability and accessibility of healthcare facilities, in the Kingdom of the Netherlands does not shift the blame to the country government, naming it an autonomous affair of each country. If St. Martin had an orthopedic specialist, we could address this issue. The referral between St. Martin Medical Center specialist, the general surgeon, and the radiologist could have been arranged without interference of SZV. SZV pays all the bills of healthcare providers referring to one another locally. If the senior citizen could pay his bill abroad up front, he would have come long time for his diagnosis. He can come back and get a refund from SZV. But mind you, SZV will argue that they pay up to the price that they would have paid if he had been referred by them. Why the senior citizen has to endure this bureaucratic SZV interference? What we conclude is that the senior citizen has a poverty pension. He does not have enough income and savings to pay his own medical expenses up front. So here we have the next cause, that his rights to adequate health care could not immediately be realized, this being poverty as the next cause. Social pension and social allowances, as well as the wages in this part of the kingdom, are poverty income. Now, government has guaranteed affordable and accessible care by charging SZV by law to implement medical referrals abroad. SZV has come up with administrative procedures for medical referrals. The patient first have to be reviewed by a local specialist at St. Martin Medical Center. But what we saw, even when SZV got the referral request from the new orthopedic surgeon at SZV did not handle with urgency. They did not even follow up with the general surgeon, the new orthopedic specialist at St. Martin Medical Center, but with the home physician. As argument for the delay, we even got an answer from SZV that St. Martin Medical Center specialists are not connected to the SZV electronic referral system. Where the amount of referrals abroad has dropped because of the employment of specialists at the St. Martin Medical Center, so there is less work for medical referral department of SZV.
Hello, St. Martin. My name is Stephanie Medina, and I play football with the Walichi Women soccer team. I have represented St. Martin in many different games. For example, the Dutch Caribbean Women's Soccer Cup. I played against Bonaire, Aruba, and Curacao right here in this stadium. Sports matter to me because it makes me happy, it keeps me fit and healthy, and it is very fun. So I asked the business community to take on this challenge and help us rebuild our facilities. And I also asked the community to nominate the local businesses in your area and take on the challenge and step up for sport. Why? Because sports matter. Check out the Department of Sport Facebook page for more information. Hashtag sports matter, hashtag are you in?
The closing ceremony, the main book launch, is one of the high points of the St. Martin Book Fair. We're in our 17th edition this year. And the writer of the book, Dr. Sarah Florine, worked on my work, compared it to works of other writers within the region and around the world. But basically it's a story about the St. Martin people, the culture, the landscape, the history, told through literature. So she's analyzing these books, and she uses the theme that repeats in my work about salt, what they call the aesthetics, this element that is like a symbol of beauty, a symbol of strength, a symbol of challenge within a society. So it's the aesthetics, among other definitions. And so that is what the book is called Caribbean Counterpoint, the Aesthetics of Salt and Laissons Secours. So, it's very difficult sometimes for me to hear or even to read what people write about the work, because, how do you do that, you see? Because, and some of the times they come up with some very sharp and different and other level analysis and explanations and definitions, which is good for literature, and it's good for the St. Martin culture, it's good for the interactive reality of Caribbean culture, how it relates to the world. And Caribbean literature, it's a young literature, Caribbean-wide, across our language zone. It's a young literature, but it's a world-class competitive literature. So it's quite an honor for somebody like Sarah Froulin, who's a Caribbeanist scholar out of Italy. She teaches in Singapore now, to take the time and to study my work. What does it mean? How does this address the realities of the St. Martin people, related to our histories, related to our current realities? What about the projections towards the future, how it relates to other literatures within the region? All of that is what she's touching. The book came out of a PhD thesis, her doctorate, that she did, like kind of a comparative study of Caribbean authors, including myself, including people like David Rudder, Aja, Kamal Brathwaite, and so on. So this book came out of that, and so it's a kind of you may want to use the word, a kind of a scientific study, because of a very meticulous study going into what are we about, what are we writing, what's this guy writing, why does the element of salt, what does the great salt pond end up in my work? Why do I relate it as the cradle of the St. Martin nation, both north and south? All of that she looks at. So it's quite an honor. It's kind of a humbling thing to sit down and hear people, talk. When we heard Key Miller, Dr. Key Miller, analyze the book, I was looking at it like, where is this coming from? How is this? But we want that. We want to hear that. We want to see that. It helps us to see ourselves, our own culture, our individual work as a writer. It helps us to see different worlds, and it helps to put us in different worlds. And people start to looking at us as what is unique about St. Martin? What is unique about St. Martin's literature? How does it compare to the rest of the region? How competitive it is or could be? It also inspires young writers coming up. Young artists coming up, because you notice that she mentioned musicians, she mentions art people, and in the book she does mention Debbie Jack and so on, Risana Jack. So she broadens the analysis relative to culture that takes in the different genres, music, paintings, and so on. So it's an interesting book. I would love the St. Martin people to bring a copy home, to see what others are saying about us, and to read what we say about ourselves, how it is interpreted by others relative to the world.